Why, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Independence Public Library's Science Time. As always, I am part-time scientist Mr. Alex, and I am here today to ask a very interesting question. Why do leaves change color? Most of the year, they're generally some kind of hue of green. Most of the time, if you go out and you look at the big, broad, leafy trees, they're all green in the summer and the spring. But then we get to fall, and as you can see, this leaf that was once completely green is starting to turn red around the edges, until eventually it oftentimes turns all the way a red, an orange, or a yellow, something like that. And I thought that it would be very interesting to talk about why it is that leaves change color and do a little experiment so that we can see exactly what is going on in our leaves. So for this, what you're going to need is you're going to need a little cup that you can place into a bowl of warm water, freshly poured warm water that I got out right before starting this video. You're going to need, if you can find any green leaves that are still around. I know it's kind of late into the season, but I found these guys, fresh green, only some of it has changed color. They're still around. You can go around, look and find. You don't need very many of them if you can just find some green leaves. That's probably just a couple is enough to get you started. You're going to need plastic wrap. You're going to need rubbing alcohol. Be careful with this. Please get a helpful adult to pour this for you. We don't need very much, just enough to cover our leaves. And finally, either paper towels or coffee filters. So, oh, and one last thing. Something that we can use to mash our leaves. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our cup right here. We're going to take our beautiful green leaves and we're going to tear them into tiny pieces. Crumple them up, cut them, mash them, squeeze them until we've got the tiniest pieces that we can possibly get. And then we're going to put them into our cup. Be aware that if you are anywhere near as messy as me, you're probably going to have to clean up this area afterwards. Just take your leaves, really roll it up, mash it, crunch it, tear it, do whatever you can to get them into small pieces. Okay, and when you've got decently small crumpled leaves, push them down to the bottom of the cup. This is where we take a little bit of our rubbing alcohol. We're going to open it up and we're going to pour just enough to cover our crumpled leaves. Once again, be careful with this. I highly recommend you have a helpful adult to pour this for you. Okay, perfect. Poured basically just enough to cover our leaves. And now, also with the help of a nearby helpful adult, use whatever instrument that you want to mash with. Get it out and allow them to mash the leaves into the rubbing alcohol. And if the leaves were small little pieces before, they're going to be even smaller now. Really squish them in there. You can already see that it's starting to turn a little bit of green. And I just got some water on my coat. But that's why we have to always be careful. Gotta put that to the side a bit. Yep. There we go. It's covering it. It's all mashed up nice. It's turning a slight color of green, the liquid is. Going to put it in the center of our warm water solution. And I'm going to take a piece of plastic wrap and I'm going to cover our container with the leaves and rubbing alcohol, just like that. Okay, perfect. Now we play the waiting game. We've got basically everything done that we need right now. All we have to do is let our mashed mixture do its work. So we're going to set this aside, the warm water, for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to come back and take a look at it. So just set it aside somewhere safe, and remember to come back in about 30 minutes. Okay, it's been about half an hour, and our mashed mixture has been sitting in the warm water the entire time, and the liquid is a greenish tint, as you can see, probably. At least in your own, you can definitely see that. We're going to remove the plastic wrap, and we're going to take either the coffee filter and cut it into little sheets, or if you need to, you can also use sheets of paper towels and cut them into similarly thin slices like this. And we're going to take them and we're going to put them into our mixture, our mashed mixture, and let them hang over. Just like this. Perfect. Now, 3 or 4 is probably the right number of these little strips to have available. You want to make sure that they are definitely touching the liquid. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it about another half hour to hour, and we're going to let this absorb the juices, and we're going to come back and we're going to take a look. Okay, so we've given our strips of either paper towels or cut coffee filters time to absorb our mixture of tree mush or leaf mush and rubbing alcohol. And the results are very interesting looking. So if you take a look, we can see that there's this gradient. It's not just one color. It starts down here very dark green, and then it becomes a bit lighter green, almost yellowish, and it ends with a very strong yellowish brown. And you can see this is the case for every single one of the strips that I put in. Now, you might be asking, why is this important? Well, it's because this experiment that we just did doesn't just reveal the color of the leaves, it actually separated the colors that are in the leaves. Let me explain. So when it absorbs, our paper towel, when it absorbs the leaf and rubbing alcohol mixture, the colors separate themselves, with the darker greens down here and more yellowish and eventually brown near the top. And that is the big twist of this whole question. Why do leaves change color in autumn and fall? Well, it's not because they're getting new colors, it's because they're losing old colors. If we take a look at one of our green leaves here, the one of the kind that we use to mash everything together, it's pretty strongly green. There's a few spots of other things, but it's mostly green, and you can't really see much else. But the thing is, this leaf looks like it's got green in it, it's got a little bit of yellow, and it's got some brown. It's just the green is so overpowering that we don't really see the other colors. If we want to take a look at another example, the leaves I showed at the beginning that turn red, start green, turn red, they always had the red in there. It's just the green was so strong you couldn't see the red. And this is true. Many leaves have oranges and yellows and reds and a little bit of brown. Some even have purple in them. But you just oftentimes can't see them because the green is there. So let's ask, why do leaves change color? They always do it at the same time of year, right? Now what's different? When we get to fall, when we get to around this time of year when the leaves are all changing color, the important thing that makes the difference is the days get shorter. And this is important particularly because leaves exist for the tree to get sunlight. If you've ever heard of the term photosynthesis, leaves are doing a lot of the photosynthesis for the tree, absorbing the sunlight and turning it into tree food. When we get to fall and the days become shorter and shorter and there's less sun, the trees realize it's not getting much more food from these leaves. And so what it decides to do is it takes a lot of the materials and nutrients and stuff that make the leaf, and it sucks it back into the tree. The important one being called chlorophyll. And that's the green that we're seeing. The chlorophyll in the tree leaf makes it green and absorbs the sunlight. So when it gets colder and darker and the days are shorter, the trees oftentimes break down a lot of the materials in the leaf, including chlorophyll, and suck it back into the tree, and then it decides to cut the leaf off and just let it fall. And that's why leaves change color. Not because the tree is adding anything to the leaf to make it change color. Not because tiny elves are coming and coloring it, cool as that would be. No, it's because those colors were always there, but they got overpowered by the green of the chlorophyll. So when the tree sucked up the chlorophyll, it just left the other colors behind. That's the reason. And what we did today is we simulated breaking down the chlorophyll and the other colors in the leaves and had them suck up here. And we get to see, as the colors separated, what colors are actually in these leaves. They only look green, but there's also yellows and browns in there too. So thank you guys for joining me for this science time at the Independence Public Library. I hope that we'll see you again soon, and enjoy the autumn weather while it lasts and the beautiful colors of the leaves. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.